So for this demonstration, I'm going to carry on working with the features, and I want to show you how to refine the nose and the mouth. So I'm continuing on the same drawing that you've seen in previous demonstrations. In one of the first videos on drawing the head in pastel, I showed you how to block in colour and model some light and shade in the head. And it was this head, but I intentionally left the features to be refined. So this is what I'm working on now. And as with what I demonstrated with the refining of the eyes, I'm beginning with the thinnish stick of charcoal, and I'm going to work with the nose. My model has light coming in from his left, his right, our left, and I'm going to just make some dark marks around the base of the nostril. So this nose has got a dark front. We can see the round form, the spherical form of the tip of the nose. But I'm going to begin just by darkening the nostril and the side of the nostril, the wing of the nostril. So this is a little bit of either redrawing or just re-emphasizing. And so the opening of the nostril is obviously a dark shape, but I'm going from that opening to coming underneath the tip of the nose. So a kind of outlining of the base of the nose. And because this nose is lit on one side, that definition on this side, the right side as I look at it, is not quite so strong because this is the sort of shadow side. But I'm putting down a line it's a kind of an undulating line that starts at one opening of one nostril, comes under the tip of the nose and goes to the other nostril. And on both sides I might define just that curve of the outside of the nostril. The next thing that I should do is perhaps go on with this pattern of light. So I had been showing you certain simple warm colours for the face, and what we're seeing with this particular lighting, as I've said, is that the front of the nose is dark, but there's a kind of edge here which I'm going to emphasize with my light pastel, which comes down really between the front plane of the nose and the side plane. That's the edge, the corner where those two planes meet. Comes down the nose, and then it comes out, because then we're approaching the tip of the nose. So as I keep saying, this is a more spherical form. So I want to go from a line down there to something a bit rounder here. And there's a bit of light on the nostril over here, on the side. Those are the main light shapes. What I now need to do is soften or even darken some of the other areas between those light shapes. So for example, the top of the wing of the nostril could have a bit more warmth there, and maybe even some here and some on the tip of the nose. And then I think the tip of the nose could get darker. I'll probably use some of the grey, or not the grey, but the less warm brown, which is on the other side, which is on this side of the face. So all of these descriptions, explanations are to emphasize the idea of the planes of the nose, the front of the nose, which I'm saying is mainly dark, and has an edge where it meets the side. That definition is fairly lost on this side of the nose, but I'll introduce a little bit of definition using some grey. Let's do that now. So I've left the dark on the front of the nose, and I think we can get just a little bit of reflected light here on the plane on that side of the nose and the nostril. So emphasizing the front and side planes of the nose, and also the tip of the nose as this rounder, more spherical form. So I'm going to leave the nose for a moment, go on to the mouth, Ideally, I mean, I did the eyes in a previous video. Now I'm doing nose and mouth. Ideally, I would do all features together and bring them along at the same sort of level, checking back and forth how they fit together. But I'll go on to the mouth now. So firstly, the mouth and nose, we have this indentation between the nose and the top lip called the philtrum. So I'm just connecting the nose and the top lip by identifying where that is. And then I'm going to outline the top lip, again with my charcoal. Top lips, usually with the light coming from above, tend to be darker because they slope in, and lower lips tend to have some light because they curve out and catch the light. At the moment, because we've got all sorts of bright light bouncing in, actually this top lip isn't quite as dark as I've made it, but I'm going to outline it. So the top lip is fuller. If I find the line of the mouth between the lips, in that central section below the philtrum, it's quite a curving, full shape. So I've outlined the top lip, but I'm now using the line of the mouth, and I'm beginning with the central part of that line because that's often worth emphasizing. It helps center the mouth and it helps you find the center of the mouth, but it's also a more pronounced shape, particularly in the mouth that I'm drawing now. So I'm emphasizing the middle section, and then I'm going to emphasize the corners. And this can be a useful thing to do. You can maybe let the line of the mouth disappear on either side, but the center and the corners are very helpful. The center for centering the mouth, and the corners for pushing the corners back. So that's what I've emphasized there with the top lip. And then I'll just outline the lower lip so that I know where it is. And again, thinking of the center of the mouth, we have this indentation, this hollow below the lower lip, which then connects to the round form of the chin. And I'm using my charcoal again just to darken that. So by darkening below the lower lip will stand out a bit more, will get a bit more form. So that, with my colour scheme, as I have it, because of being against the light, there's not so much more light or colour I necessarily need to put in. With our light coming in from the left, I might get a bit more colour into the lower lip at that point, and then I'll try a bit of the light. And for now, I'm just going to stay with the same colour that I've used for light on the side of the face. I think I want to get a little bit more warmth into that colour, that light on the lower lip, but I'm not going to get into stronger colour in the mouth yet. If I was to go on developing the colour in the face, I might do that, but I think because of our light, I might just get a little bit more warmth into the upper lip. So you see, I did a lot of that really with the charcoal. The charcoal was giving me the darker accents. If that charcoal looks too cool, too black, then I've got this warm brown, which I might go over the charcoal with. And I could also do that in the nose. So just to strengthen that through a warmer dark. And while I'm at it, I think I'll do the same with the eyes. And what I'm doing in particular is I'm strengthening the center of the eyelash and the pupil so that they stand out a little bit more strongly with more light. And I think I'm seeing something slightly different with this eyelash, which I just want to adjust with some charcoal. Which is not a bad thing to be demonstrating, that having brought out the mouth and the nose a little bit more strongly, I need to check how the eyes work. And I think I would quite like to now go back to some work on the rest of the face. So we've got a nice strong bit of light on the jaw there, on the cheekbone, and then a bit more on the jawline down here. And this is quite right that I should be going back to the more general work of the face. So I've been looking at some of the detail of the features. I'm trying to warm up some of that charcoal. But then moving back and forth between details of features and more general work. And I found that this highlight colour, it's a sort of pale orange, that I've used and talked a lot about for getting the light planes on the side of the nose and the side of the forehead. That's a little bit cool, a little bit yellow, and I want to warm that up by mixing it with this more mid-tone warmth. But as I've already said, a lot of work with skin colour in particular is to do with balancing colour. And if you can identify a group of colours that work for you, that work together, and then the task really is how you adjust their balance. And I've got one more colour here, the last thing that I want to do to this drawing. It's a slightly more, I'll put it on the ear, it's a slightly orangier mid-tone. And I think there's scope for introducing that a bit as well. I think it's quite a good bridge between this cooler brown, which is on that side of the face, and these warm colours that I've talked a lot about. But I'm using quite small amounts, you might see, just to see how I can bring those colours together. And having put it on this side of the face, the light side of the face, I'll just see whether I can bring in a little bit of it on this side. So the shadow side of the face, which is mainly the cooler brown, could become a bit flat if there's not much variation in it whilst I'm varying that side. So I'm using a little bit of this slightly orangier brown to liven up that side of the face. But this is very much about balancing the colour in the skin. The work I've done on the features will also need those colours to be involved so that everything's connected. But just quite small adjustments. So that's more or less my demonstration. I worked with the nose and the mouth, starting with the charcoal, then talking a bit about some of the planes in the nose and the difference between the upper lip and the lower lip. And then I ensured that by refining those features, I wasn't losing the balance and the connection with the colour and the drawing and the rest of the face. I've done nothing to the hair and nothing to the background, so let me just do a little bit more to parts of the background and to the hair, just to see if that makes any useful effects that you might pick up something from. So I'll just put a little bit more light in the hair here. Because for all these stages of this drawing, my model has had light coming in from the left, but actually it's been slightly different each time. But I think it's good if you can see that that's possible. You don't have to be too stuck with exactly the same conditions, especially if you start your drawing quite loosely and then work towards a more refined drawing. In all of this, I haven't done any smudging, so a final thing I'll just smudge a little bit in the background, and you'll see how that calms down the background. And it may be that there are certain places, some of these busy marks here, that I want to smudge a bit. But smudging softens things, but it also dampens them down. So if I've lost something there, having smudged it, then I can put some marks back on again. So again, it's finding a balance between the softness, the things knocked back by smudging, or the lively animated surface that you get from the hatching effect. Okay, well, thank you.